Hey everybody, I'm back. Welcome to the altar of the 7 stars. Lord Josh here. I think it's about time I did a full tour of my altar, which is quite a bit different than anything else you will ever see. I'm going to be explaining each item, its significance. I'll be talking about the history of the altar, why I chose the name, the importance of the altar's location, how the altar is used on a daily basis, and how it all came into being. So let's get into it. First of all, let's take a look at the name, the Altar of the 7 stars. This altar is named after Zhuge Liang's altar. The details of Kongming's altar are revealed in chapter 49 of the book. On page 246, we find out that the platform was built on a site of natural power. By using feng shui measurements, Kongming carefully selected the best area for its construction. The altar was too bird. We all know these creatures as the 4 celestial animals of feng shui. On the second tier of the altar were symbols of the 64 hexagrams, and on the top tier you have incense and the magician's magic circle, such a platform. So instead, I have made a smaller version, but I have done my best to remain faithful to the original masterpiece. My altar is built on a hill made from red earth. It faces towards the south, and during the evening, the design perfectly aligns with the Northern Dipper, the 7 stars asterism which the altar is based on. The Chinese name of the altar is Qi Xing Tan. Whenever I am on the altar, I will usually use the Chinese name. You will notice the altar is elevated quite nicely from the ground, and is only accessible by using these 3 steps. Each step represents a different realm of existence. Step 1 is the material realm, earth. Step 2 is the energetic realm, the astral. And step 3 is the spiritual realm, heaven. As the magician ascends these steps, he or she must visualize passing through each realm, starting from the earthly material plane, leaving behind your name, title, job, life circumstances, possessions, your life story, whether good or bad. You leave it all behind, and then passing into the energetic realm. As you step here, you should visualize the world as it really is, energy. You should leave behind matter and solidity. You're lifting the veil on the mundane world. Then finally onto the spiritual realm, where you become formless and empty, with an empty mind, so that you can become full of qi when you start practicing the magic. Same when you descend the altar, you go from the formless spirit world back into the mundane earthly world. So from heaven you descend to earth, from yang to yin. I might be the only magician that uses steps like this. It sounds unorthodox, but it really works, so that's why I use it. In the center of the platform, I have my magic circle, the Taiji, Yin and Yang. As a wanderer of the middle path, I use this design to stay balanced between the worlds, operating from a place of harmony, not polarity. The circle has protection qualities as it forms an invisible force field of qi around the magician, but more importantly, it gives the magician authority over heaven, yang, and control over earth, yin. You will notice in my ritual videos, once the ceremony has begun, I do not leave the vicinity of the magic circle, as it is considered to be the command center of the altar. If something needs to be changed, transformed, transferred, created, or destroyed, it must be done from here. During times of magic and activation, I regard the circle as the absolute center of the universe. Everything else orbits and evolves around the Taiji, the stars, the planets, the natural world. When I am practicing weather magic, I like to visualize the celestial bodies orbiting and cycling around me. This isn't an ego complex, it's simply an exercise that gives the magician control. You are visualizing this is my altar, this is my space where I am the creator and the destroyer. Left-hand path magic is just as welcome here as right-hand path. These circles can be used for any shade of spirituality. When a ritual begins, it starts in the circle and it ends there. I have several flags, banners and scrolls at the far end of the platform. The yellow banners are there to invite healthy yang qi into the area by using the power of color. The color yellow is used to connect to earthly energy. This involves chi from the soil, minerals from the rocks, and nutrients from the vegetation. These flags behave like magnets, drawing in chi from all around the area, so great for weather magic. And yellow has a strong connection to Chinese royalty. A lot of the deities and immortals that I contact are emperors, warlords, and ancient prime ministers. Within this tradition, an altar should be welcoming to the gods. It should be a place of beauty, opulent, and inviting. I'm pretty good with opulence. This shows the spirits that you mean business. You are dedicated and committed to making them feel like they are entering a lavish palace. If you think this is grand, you should see my throne room. More on that in a future video. You will notice on the yellow banners, I have the symbolism of the Bagua, the 8 triagrams, more importantly, the pre-heaven sequence. The pre-heaven Bagua is especially useful for weather magic as it is built on polar opposites, with each triagram representing a different combination of yin and yang energy. Broken lines are yin, unbroken are yang. The father above, the mother below. Solar energy, lunar energy. Each opposite works to balance the other one out, and they are inseparable. I know I talk a lot about yang energy, but too much yang can be harmful. So this altar is all about energy in moderation. The yellow banners invite yang, whilst the darker scrolls invite yin. I, as the magician, then make use of both forces for my workings. On my table here, I have a lot of tools, so in no particular order, the 2 red candles you see either side of Zhuge these candles represent what is known as a divine light. The candles also represent the eyes of God, watching over me and the altar as I practice. Now don't be alarmed when I say God. You could easily replace that word with the universe, the source, Lamat, the Tao, or even the higher self. Basically, the 2 candles represent that something ethereal and otherworldly is always watching you. Take a look at my altar at night. You can tell it isn't dormant. It has a real vibe and presence to it. When I'm practicing my magic and I'm out there, I feel something watching me. I don't always know what that something is, but I know it's there on the other side. The candles also represent the sun and the moon, and in certain Taoist groups, they can represent the eyes of the magician. The candles combined with the table and the practitioner creates a trinity of harmony. So candles and their light are heaven, the table is earth, and of course the practitioner is man. Man, earth, and heaven are known as the 3 magical powers within Taoism. They all need to be aligned in order for ritual work to take place. In some Taoist traditions, the candles are referred to as guiding lights. The lights attract the spirits to you as they help guide the gods to your altar. On the left here, you can see a bronze statue of a very fierce-looking dragon. I know my friend Bless Parker will immediately know who this is. It's Ying Long, the 1,000-year-old winged dragon of rain, otherwise known as the responding dragon. He is able to create clouds with his breath, and he is said to have created riverbeds by using his tail. To Taoist weather magicians, he is essential to the practice. I communicate to Ying Long via going into a state of flow or trance state. I politely request him to send rain to me during a rain-making ritual, and usually within a few hours I get a response, hence the name Responding Dragon. The rains that he creates are long-lasting and very intense. We're talking about really powerful torrential rains here. Ying Long is an extremely mighty and imposing god, not the most gentle of the nature and weather gods, but certainly one of the most powerful. I've used Ying Long to help and call rain to drought-ridden countries such as Yemen, long-distance weather magic, and I was successful early this year, so weather magic can be used to help struggling people. Next to Ying Long, I have another dragon entity which is entwined with a laughing Buddha. This dragon, named Prince of Joy, is the opposite to Ying Long. He is gentle, playful, and joyous. So if I am performing weather magic to lift my mood, remember all weather types correspond to moods and mental states and emotions. If I want to boost my joy and happiness, or if I want to send somebody joy-filled energy, I'll call forth a gentle summer's rain by activating the magical properties of this statue. When the rain falls, it will be charged with mood-enhancing chi, and that will have a beneficial effect on anyone in the area. That is an example of right-hand path magic. So remember this, with this altar, I can summon the most loving, peaceful, and compassionate elements, or I could create the most heinous, aggressive, baneful thunder magic you've ever known by calling in a severe storm. The potential and freedom here is incredible. Right in the center of the table we have Zhuge Liang, otherwise known as Kong Ming, the brilliant genius of the Three Kingdoms era. Kong Ming was the prime minister of the Shu Han state, a legendary Taoist master, and a Taoist weather magician. Holding his iconic feather fan, he is the guardian and patron deity of the Altar of the Seven Stars. He oversees every single ritual that takes place here, so no matter what I do, he is always involved in some way or another. Kong Ming also has a practical benefit for the magician. He is a master of winds, of course, due to the historical connection with the Battle of the Red Cliffs. Here is a clip of me asking Kong Ming to borrow the winds to me during a weather ritual.
Kong Ming, please borrow to me the southeastern winds from the Battle of Chibi. Kong Ming, please borrow to me the southeastern winds from the Battle of Chibi. Kong Ming, please borrow to me the southeastern winds from the Battle of Chibi.
If you want to check out the full ritual video, it's up on my channel. Using weather incantations is extremely important on this altar, and each statue has its own special words of power that it responds to. When these words are said over and over again through repetition, it builds up a powerful essence within the statue. I also have an oil painting of Kong Ming. This isn't a copy, this is the original painting, and I will occasionally use this instead of the statue, but the same rules apply. Either side of Kong Ming are two Jiao Tus, not to be confused with Fu dogs. They are actually dragon entities. I know I've got a lot of dragons on my altar. They're considered to be more powerful than Fu dogs. Jiao Tu is known to have 9 dragon sons, and these beings are used to protect the area from evildoers, intruders, and noxious chi. You don't often find them in regular homes. Only royalty or officials tend to use them, because Jiao Tu are considered more heavenly and mighty. With me being a lord, I have to have the best protection. Now, why do I need protection? Well, obviously I do not want any uninitiated person to wander onto my altar because of one major reason. It is known within Taoist weather magic that if a layman, a person with no magical training or knowledge, touches a weather magician's stone, the layman will fall under a terrible curse. This curse would involve things like poverty, death, illness, etc. So the layman is the one who really needs the protection. Having the 2 guardians helps keep the wrong kind of people away from my altar. I don't want to be responsible for anybody getting hurt. In front of Kong Ming, you can see a set of different colored crystal globes. Now these are great because they have multi-uses depending on the color-coded arrangement that you pick. So if you arrange the globes with a white, blue, green, red, gold formation, you will attract money. If you want family luck, you should go with a blue, green, red, gold, white arrangement. Now there are plenty of different energies you can attract here, which is what I love about these globes. I have to warn you though, I had an arrangement a little while ago to attract wealth. Boy did it work. Oh man, it worked, it really did. But overnight, my health went to shit, excuse my language. So these globes seem to take from one aspect of your life to give to another, taking health and making it into wealth, and vice versa. Be very careful what you wish for, as they say. I have a jade bowl here with many different kinds of weatherstones. Now I won't go too deep into the stones here because I've already covered them in other videos, but I keep most of my weatherstones in this jade bowl. Some of them are activated by throwing them into consecrated water. Some require you to say an incantation, whilst other stones require you to blow air into them so they come to life. You'll also notice I have a Buddhist shrine in the center of the altar. This is because I very much enjoy a lot of the Buddhist concepts. Now, I wouldn't call myself a Buddhist. I just take bits and pieces, and if I feel they suit me, I put them into my own practice. This shrine is silver, and silver is the color of source chi, otherwise known as God energy. I have 3 incense sticks here. 2 incense sticks would be yin, and 3 would be yang. Since weather magic requires an enormous amount of lively energy, I usually just use the 3. The incense sticks that I use are red sandalwood incense. It is burnt in the 4 corners of the altar to purify the area and the platform. Within weather magic, this kind of incense is used to help induce visions, conjure entities, and also banish entities you don't want to associate with. It's very useful if you're like me and you like to reach out to nature spirits, elementals, immortals, and anything that falls under the category of heavenly sorcery. You'll also notice I have quite the collection of magical musical instruments around the altar. Again, I've already covered this in detail in a separate video. There are 5 main instruments that are used for weather magic. The 5 instruments represent the 5 thunder gods and Wu Xing, the 5 Chinese elements. I use a large buglehorn to call forth the winds, a drum to summon stormy clouds, which in turn will encourage rain, a large Taoist priest's bell used to quickly bring wind and rain, a smaller bell used in conjunction with the larger one, and a smaller horn. Each instrument is played during a different part of the weather ritual. Now, I'm not a musician at all, so there's not much skill involved. It's about making as much noise as you can to get the attention of the deities. Here is my signature talisman, my Kongming feather fan. This one here is totally handmade and bespoke just for me. I have named the fan Ascendancy. I'm in the process of making a full video on why I use the fan, and I've been in touch with a bunch of other occultists on the subject of special talismanic items that you carry around with you. I've spoken to my friend Bless Parko. She just got her own Kongming feather fan, which is very exciting. I always love it when my friends and viewers get into the fans. It makes me very happy. Another friend of mine, D.H. Thorne, who uses a magical staff, which I think is really awesome. I like that, D.H. That's beautiful. Let me know what talisman you carry. I always love to know more and find out more about the paths of other practitioners. I often use this purple crystal wand for writing out talismans within the air, a practice of magical writing. By drawing out various sacred words, shapes, and lines, I am able to change the natural world around me. This amethyst wand is excellent for calling thunderstorms and exorcising demonic whirlwinds. You can see the bronze fruit bowl here as well, most importantly containing a peach. Peaches in Taoism are connected to immortality and longevity. Great for health-based workings. Now, I've had the Altar of the 7 Stars now for about 9 years, I think, and I adore it. It's not just used for weather magic, but all forms of Taoist spells. If you don't have an altar, now's the time to start thinking about setting one up. You won't regret it. Mine is always a work in progress. I'm always changing things and moving things around on there. But most of the things you see here are bespoke and custom made because I practice a very unique form of magic and you can't always find those items in stores. I get asked pretty often in my email, do you need all of this stuff, Lord Josh, to practice weather magic? And no, you don't need all of it. there's a lot of things that I get that are optional extras, enhancements. You don't need a lot of the things I've shown you, but I'm in a position where I'm able to afford these things easily. I can buy all of this stuff, and I do on a regular basis. So if you have the money to do it, why wouldn't you? A lot of the time people will say things like you've got to be more minimalistic and simplistic and try to go for the less is more approach, whereas I don't live my life like that. I always believe that more is more, and I enjoy having the tools and the robes and the thrones and all of the nice things in between. I find that it enhances my practice tenfold. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you found this video informative. I'll be back soon. Take care.